Hello and welcome to Nerdarchy. For nerds, by nerds. I'm Nerdcast Dave. Today I'm joined by Jason Charles Miller. How are you doing today, sir?
A little sleepy, but good. Other than that,
I know we got a really long stick and poked you early over on the
I
West
know.
Coast.
I when I agree to do your show, I always forget that I have to check in at like 8:30 in the morning for me.
I know. Sorry.
You conveniently leave that part out of the email.
Yeah.
Smart. It's smart.
We had that part in the email the day before, just so you know.
Right. What? No, I knew before yesterday, but
Yeah. Well, we do appreciate you getting up early and coming and hanging out with us. Definitely the early morning start is not the rock star lifestyle, I imagine.
it's not. But I got up this early a couple weeks ago because I was filming a music video
Yeah.
out in the mountains. So I got up way earlier than this for 2 days. So at least I have a little bit of a memory of getting up this early, but
Oh,
I haven't
nice.
had to in a long time.
And it sounds like you got some fresh air while you did it too.
Oh yeah, I mean it. Yeah, I was. It was way up there in the mountains and freezing cold, so it was nice.
So, for those that aren't familiar with your work, and you do a lot of different things, can you give us the kind of the elevator pitch?
Sure. I mean, I overall, I mean, I consider myself an entertainer, I
Yeah.
guess. Like that's what I write on my job description because I've been a musician my entire adult life, professional musician. Um, but I've also been a voice actor for the last 17 years. And, and I've worked on a lot of really big titles, and really thankful to have been able and can continue to able to do that. So I'm a musician and I'm specifically a voice actor. But I'm also uh, have been and continue to be like a pro DM, and have loved D&D. Have been played since I was about 8. So I guess all things nerdy. Sorry, that's my elevator pitch at
It's okay.
only being awake for a short amount of time.
Yeah. No,
Um,
I
and
mean,
we can dig into the details of all of that for sure if you want.
yeah. So, when did you transition from considering yourself maybe a musician to an entertainer, or did you always see yourself that way?
No, I think it was honestly like the first time I sang on a commercial,
Yeah.
uh, and then could join the Screen Actors Guild, and then the first voiceover gig I ever had, which was um, in the first anime Helsing. Then I really considered myself a professional actor because it was my first professional acting gig. Um, but I performed in community theater and school theater and things like that all growing up, but never really, became a professional paid actor until that very first anime, which was also great because I grew up watching anime
Yeah.
and loving it. So
Was that intentional, or was that something you kind of just like fell into?
no, it was intentional. the The commercial was sort of something that I fell into. It was suggested by my um, music publisher at the time, but the um, the anime was deliberate and specific, and I've always taken that. Once I knew that was an opportunity for me, I've always taken it really seriously. I will still take class. I took a class right before the pandemic hit. And if you go to my IMDb, I have 127 voice acting credits, but I still want to make sure that I'm doing the best that I can and that I stay on target for like what's expected, what's trending, like just making sure that I'm keeping my chops up, so to speak. And of course, you get that from working all the time, but
Yeah.
also you want to look at it from a fresh perspective constantly too. So
So we were talking before we went live, and you've got a couple albums that are coming out.
I do. Yeah. So actually, um, here's the CD version. I've got this album is coming out
Hold it a
on
little bit more
Friday.
in front of you,
Okay. Although that's where
because I have you in the box.
oh,
There you
okay.
go.
I'm trying it.
There
The
you go. You got it.
again. I
Nice.
know, but look at the reflection. All
Yeah, yeah. The
right,
glare.
the ring
Yeah.
light.
The ring
It's so
light.
glossy. There we go. I think.
From the wreckage. I see. I can read that. From the
Well, yeah,
wreckage.
from the wreckage, part one.
Yeah.
I decided to split it up, so part two's coming out in October. But yeah, that comes out on Friday, and then on the 31st, I have 8 songs about D&D coming out in the game Idle Champions. Idle Champions of the Forgotten Realms. So I host this show on Tuesday afternoons on the Codename Games Twitch channel. Codename puts out Idle Champions, and it's a songwriting show. So every week we'll pick a different character from Idle Champions, which really is a different character from Forgotten Realms, and we'll write a song about him with the audience participating. So we'll the week before we'll pick, like, oh, next week we're gonna write a song about Strahd. Okay. He's a vampire, so let's make it sound kind of dark and moody. Okay, let's talk about the lore of Strahd. And I co-host it with Dylan Wilkes, who works for the video game company, and it's kind of the lore master. He wasn't a songwriter before this show, but he's a songwriter now because we've done 27 episodes and
Yeah.
and we're still going. So yeah, so then we picked our favorites, and now they're going in the game, which is kind of crazy.
Nice.
So they're DLC for the game.
But I mean, that's not new for you though,
No, in fact,
because you've done a bunch of music for games.
I have. Yeah, like twofold. So I've been hired to just be the singer on some games, like in Metal Gear Rising and Final Fantasy 14. And then I've written music specifically for games, most recently Cyberpunk 2077. I've got 3 songs in that game. But as I was telling you before we started, some people only know me as like the video game singer guy.
Mm-hmm.
Like they have no idea I have a whole career before that, and 7 albums with Godhead, and I think this is like my 4th or 5th solo album. So, and then not to mention like other acts that I've collaborated with. So yeah, it's cool that people know me from different things and that it all kind of comes together. Like I don't shy away from anything that I've done in the past. Like I'm proud of all of it. And it's very cool to have people know me from different ways. And it's funny because like I'm on TikTok now.
Yeah.
And I'll get funny comments there too, like, don't give up, you're great. I don't know, like I'm like brand new to them, which is fine and funny because like you don't expect people to know you instantly, right? And but the TikTok comments I like a lot because, well, and TikTok is funny because for every 9 comments that are like, hey, this sounds great, blah, 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 there'll be one that's like just the meanest comment I've gotten in like 20 years.
So are you saying that on TikTok they're better at mean comments than anywhere else?
I think they are.
Because you're online all over the place, and online is online, I guess.
Yeah, and like the first time I was on Geek and Sundry Twitch,
yeah,
that I was playing a song, and I was like, all right, here goes. People are going to be mean, just because it's the internet, right?
Yeah.
And everybody was so nice. I was like, oh, okay. People on Twitch, for the most part, are really nice. Uh, but on TikTok daily, I get the meanest stuff. The
They're
one I got,
just savaging you.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the one I got yesterday was
Yeah.
clean your hat and your face,
Uh,
or just like, nope, the original's better. I'm like, yeah, of course the original's better. Like, it's just people have the weirdest. They just say the weirdest things.
have you ever gotten nope, the original's better, but you're playing your own song?
No, but I'm fully expecting that the next time I put up an original on it.
Oh man. Yeah,
But
it's
anyway,
always hard for me to figure out how I want to title an episode when when I have someone like you on, because you've done so many different things, right? And like you said, even your own audiences don't really know you from all the different things you do. They're like segmented, right?
right. Well, like that. So we did a show on Geek and Sundry called Starter Kit, where we teach people how to play role playing games, and I was the host of that show. It's now on Amazon Prime, and people find it there. But the YouTube video for episode 1, where we're teaching people how to play D&D, has close to, it has several million views on that.
Yeah.
So some people just know me as the D&D guy, which is fine.
Yeah.
Like, that's great. I mean, I was on tour, before the shadow times that we are in now. But before, pre-COVID, I was on tour, and I remember I walked into like a coffee shop in Atlanta, and this barista was like, "Hey, I learned how to play D&D because of you." And I was like, "Oh, that's awesome. This is
Yeah.
great." But I was there because I was playing a show the night before. It's just, I don't, yeah, it's surreal, and it's very cool, and I just, if I say yes to something, I'm going to put my all into it, and I'm gonna I think, I don't know, I over prepare, but I think that's good. Um, in a lot of ways, because then at least you're ready to go. You can have confidence that you've prepared adequately. I'm doing a show now for the GaryCon Twitch channel. Luke had asked me to do like a 3-shot leading
Yeah.
up to GaryCon, and for those of you who don't know, I'm sure most of your audience is aware. So GaryCon is a convention every year that celebrates the life of Gary Gygax, who is, considered the father of role-playing games and the co-creator of Dungeons and Dragons. And it's run by his son, Luke Gygax. And we've been doing streams every week leading up to it. This is, unfortunately, because it falls in March, this is the second year in a row that in person it's had to be canceled. So he's made it virtual, which is uh, a whole different experience, and a whole different way to organize it. But it worked out really well last year, and we're doing it again this year. And I put together a team and did like a 3-episode 3-shot, I guess,
Uh-huh.
of an adventure for people to watch. And I guess it did so well that it looks like I want to make it a weekly show. So now every Saturday, we're going to do this show on the GaryCon channel to sort of keep up the visibility for the convention, I think,
Yeah.
year round. I think it'll help with that. And so that's fun. So I'm back in the DM's chair again, which feels really good.
Makes sense to do that, especially now. It's like people have short memories, unfortunately. So
Oh, totally.
these end times. I think we're getting closer to the end. Like end of this year, we're probably going to have some conventions. That'll be interesting to see how those play out. Um,
Right.
and then, I mean, I feel like 2 years from now, we'll kind of be back to where we were.
Yeah.
I hear people go like, "Oh, it's never going to be the same again." I'm like, I don't know. When's the last time you've heard someone worry about smallpox? It's like,
Yeah,
We're humans. We have short memories, and we're not likely to learn from our mistakes. So,
I know.
unfortunately, but I feel like we're going to get conventions back with the next couple years. I think we'll get this end of this year. We'll get like a slow rollout, and then into next year it'll start happening. And then they're saying by like what end of May, like everybody that wants to get vaccinated can.
Yeah, I'm
Hopefully,
I'm waiting for my for me, for my group to come up.
yeah,
I have friends that are getting it. My parents have all gotten it. They're fully done, with both shots and everything.
yeah,
So I'm
good.
just waiting.
It'd be good. Now we just got to convince more people to get them, so
Right.
we can all get out there and be humans with each other again. What convention would you be the most excited to go back to? You can pick which
Man,
one's going to be
San
first.
Diego Comic Con.
Yeah,
Yeah, because I live in LA, so that's just 2 hours away, and that's always just nuts.
yeah,
You know, it's so fun, and um, there's always something going on, and always, I mean, I don't know, like it's just surreal because, like, you might be finding a parking spot for your car, and then you go walking towards the convention center, and it's like, oh, cool, Chevy Chase.
yeah,
Like, I don't know. It's just like, what? I don't know. There's something like surreal about that.
yeah. I guess so. Like, I really didn't start doing conventions until much later in life, until we started Nerdarchy. It was just never something that was on my radar. And like early on, like me and my brother went to Wizard World in Philadelphia, and I was like, this is okay. But it just felt like walking around at booths, and maybe if you wanted to get in line to have someone sign something, you could. Definitely had like a different feel than when I started, like when I went to Origins or Gen Con or PAX Unplugged, um, where I felt like there was like more stuff to do.
I mean, Wizard World is a chain, right? You know what I mean? Like, it goes from city to city.
Yeah, I think it
And I'm
is.
not
Yeah.
busting. I would never bust on Wizard World, but it just has a different feel than the conventions that have like homegrown. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Well, you can bust
Um,
on them. It won't hurt my feelings. So,
well, I don't want to because I,
yeah,
want them to, I want them to book me at some point.
yeah, yeah. Good
but
call.
but
Good
uh,
call.
but I know what you mean. Like, a Wizard World convention
Yeah,
just has a different. And I've done a couple, and it just has a different feel than anime conventions are a ton of fun to do. And I've been in a lot of anime, and in fact, right now I'm on one on Netflix. One of the things that didn't slow down for me during the pandemic was voiceover, not at all, which I'm
yeah.
super thankful for. So,
Now all your friends that are just musicians are like, "Oh my god, Jason was a genius."
right, how you doing, man? I'm still waiting to go back on tour. It's like,
Yeah, yeah.
how are you doing? Okay. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't
Yeah,
want to tell them that I'm working every week, but
yeah, yeah. I got to run these D&D games, and
right. I mean, I have, so yeah,
well,
like, like I was looking at, so right now I'm streaming 5 days a week. So I'm streaming twice on my own Twitch channel. So Monday night, I have a music show called Miller's Music Mondays, and I have a musical guest every week. So I run it like a songwriter round. So we go back and forth. Like, I'll play a song, then my guest will play a song.
yeah.
I'll play a song, my guest will play a song. And then in between, we'll bullshit like this. Uh, on Wednesday nights on my, so that's my Mondays. Tuesdays is another music show. That's Bardic Inspiration, the show that I do for Idle Champions. That's the songwriting show I mentioned. And besides just Dylan and I, we've had all these guests on. So, like, we brought on Ed Greenwood, and we wrote a song about Elminster together. We brought on Luke Gygax, and we wrote a song about Melf together. So it's been fun to bring on all these D&D related guests to write a song about their character.
Have you tried getting RA on yet, or have you had RA on?
Yeah, actually, no. RA agreed to do it. We just haven't been able to schedule it.
Yeah,
So
that's gotta be a fun one. That'll be a fun one for you. I mean, one, it's RA, which is great, and then you voice one of his characters.
right, yeah. And what sucks is, speaking of San Diego Comic Con, I got a picture taken with him at the Nerdist. So Geek and Sundry and Nerdist are both owned by Legendary, and so
Yeah.
at Nerdist House one year, so I've done a bunch of work for both companies. At Nerdist House, RA was there signing his book, and we got a picture together, but it was done from like the official Nerdist photographer.
Mhm.
And because I was at the building every week at the time, there I would thought I would get it, and I never got the copy of the picture. So there's digitally on some hard drive somewhere there
Oh
is a
no.
picture of me and Bob, but
I
I don't
think
know where. But I don't have it.
I think we
So
got to plan a
frustrating.
heist. We got to plan a heist,
Yeah.
and we got to break in to wherever that hard drive is and get the
Yeah.
picture.
Um, okay, so that's my. So then later, wait, do I do something else on Tuesdays? I'm so like out of it. So that's my Tuesday. Wednesdays right now I'm doing 2 streams. I'm doing in the afternoon on Pixel Circus. I'm doing a show called Dogwoods and Dust Bowls. I'm just a player. Rachel Seeley is the DM. And it's a Western themed D&D show. So we're playing D&D 5e rules, but it just feels like we're in an old West town.
Are you gonna get Are you gonna get to crossover with the princesses?
I have done one episode of the Princesses. I played a Captain Hook type character.
Oh, nice.
And I called him. I think I called him Captain Crook. but
Yeah.
but yeah, and so my girlfriend is a makeup artist, and so like we fully dressed me up like Captain Hook and dyed my hair, my beard black, and I had like a big curly black wig. It was super fun. Uh, I don't necessarily like to cosplay, but
Yeah.
if for that one where everyone's dressed up like Disney princesses, I've had to.
You'd have felt weird not to.
Yeah.
You'd be the only one.
Yeah. But then so like Wednesday nights, I do this thing called Whatever You Want Wednesdays. That's on my Twitch channel again.
Yeah.
And it's a request show. So I have a list of like 165 songs that I know so far to how to play. And people just tip me and I'll play whatever they want for 2 hours. It's really fun to let the audience decide what I'm going to play.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy.
I can't even comprehend that. My peanut brain would never be able to store that much information.
Well, luckily I have a screen right here, so like
Yeah.
as long as I give myself a couple notes, like figuratively and literally the notes, it's easier for me to remember how to play them. As of now, I don't have anything on Fridays, but now Saturdays is when the Gax Pack, as we're calling it, is the name of the game on Saturdays for the GaryCon channel. So
okay,
so that's 5 things a week. Not to mention, voice acting gigs that I have that vary from week to week. Oh yeah, so this is so funny. I'm on an anime right now on Netflix called Kuroko's Basketball, and I play a high school basketball player.
Oh god, you know what? My son watches like all those sports animes, and he's not even that much into sports, and I've made fun of him in the past. I'm like, what are you watching? Because there's like a volleyball one that he was watching. I'm like, what are you watching? I don't get this at all.
Yeah, I know. I don't either, but I'm in one of them. Kuroko's Basketball.
But they had cash, so $20 is $20.
Right.
Yeah, no, that's definitely cool though. I was hoping it was going to be one of the cool ones like Dragon Dogma and Blood of Zeus, were kind of cool.
So
animes.
I was in Dragon Dogma the game.
Okay.
So
I didn't even know it was a game.
At least there's that. Yeah, actually, the anime I think is based on the game, unless the game's based on the anime. It goes vice versa. I am in a really cool one I'm in a couple cool ones coming out soon, but
Yeah.
I'm, as you probably are aware, there's ones you're just not allowed to talk about yet. For games, I'm in. So I've got 3 songs in Cyberpunk 2077. I'm not in that game, but my singing voice is on
Yeah.
3 songs that I wrote with my friend Jameson Boaz. We have a side project called Rezo Drone. It's a duo, and it's much more electronic music based. So I got 3 songs in that, and then in the video game Godfall that came out a few months ago, I'm the Gildan Commander, which is like the second to last boss.
Have you
That's cool.
gotten like extra work because you're a musician and you're playing in something and they're like, oh wait a minute, Jason can also voice act as well.
No, absolutely not, because those departments never talk to each other.
Okay.
So, like, I played the voice of Rao. I was the voice of Raubon Aldin for a couple years in Final Fantasy 14, and then I was asked by the composer of Final Fantasy 14 to sing the theme song to Shadowbringers, but they had no idea that I had acted in the game.
Oh, that's crazy.
Because those
Because
games are so big.
you could literally perform in the games as the voices of the characters.
I know, right? But there's the departments are so big.
Yeah,
They just never talk to each other.
they don't know what they're missing out on there.
No, they're missing out. But it's fine.
Yeah.
I mean,
okay. I guess you have a manager. Do you have a manager?
I do.
Yeah. Your manager should get on that. Be like, hey, and you.
So I've got a music manager, and then I've got a voiceover agent.
Oh, that's the
and
problem.
Then I have an on-camera acting agent.
You're facilitating the whole problem that these companies have with the different departments that don't talk to each other.
Well, that's true. You're right. I'm playing the game, I guess. I'm giving into the system.
You got to rewrite the system and break it.
Mm-hmm. I forget what I was going to say. I'll remember it in a second.
That is super cool though. Like you're all over the place. Amazon Prime, Netflix. I was wondering, do you ever think we're gonna get to a point where like this screen acting guild is gonna conflict with streaming? Where they're gonna be like they're gonna finally look at it and go, wait a minute, you guys are on a screen. Because I know like I don't know anything about that, but I know from working in construction, right? If I'm a carpenter and I'm a union carpenter, if I go carpenter somewhere else that's not union, that's it. They'll like kick you out and ban you for life.
Oh no! Well, here's the deal. No, I mean the Screen Actors Guild does cover video games. Absolutely.
No, I mean like streaming. Like now we have people playing D&D on Twitch,
YouTube, and the stuff streaming like part.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Yeah, I mean, like
it's a brand new world.
It's the
right?
Wild West.
Yeah,
because almost all of us are SAG-AFTRA because are SAG-AFTRA members. So you're right. So far so good. I mean, SAG-AFTRA's policy I've noticed in general is that like if we don't notice it, it's okay.
Yeah.
That seems to sort of be their policy, but we'll see if they'll probably will. They'll probably, but it's not our fault as actors. It's
no, and it's weird too. Like it's the Wild Wild West. It's brand new. Most streams don't generate revenue or very little if they do. Unless you're like Critical Role, right? It's like
right.
It's hard because like I've got a lot of friends that are streamers. And I feel bad because whenever I discuss it, I kind of like I discuss it from like the business aspect of it, and I'm like, it's not a good model yet, and there's too much of it, to be viable. It's like I know a lot of people want to make streaming a job, but I don't know how you do that yet.
It's a side job. For sure. But I mean, there's some people that do make it a full-time job and
oh yeah,
God bless them because, I I mean, obviously, Critical Role is a perfect example, and
Yeah, Glass Cannon podcast is another one but they fund it through like their Patreon. Where they
right,
do.
yeah, a lot of people do. Like I, just from writing the theme song to Critical Role and being on Critical Role once,
Yeah,
I have a great amount of like there's fans that know me from just that too,
yeah,
which is great. But it just shows like how far their reach is,
how powerful. Yeah, yeah. Like I haven't paid that much attention in a while, and we were talking with Fran. I'm like 30,000 people out there. Like, nah, it's more like 60. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah,
So
or like sometimes if they take a couple weeks off or something,
yeah,
there'll be like 100,000 congruent
yeah, that's
viewership.
insane.
Yeah,
Yeah, like we are saying, that's like more than TV shows.
it's absolutely more than some TV shows. So
Yeah,
like network TV wishes they had Critical Role's numbers. Not to mention, you know, they've got a break, right? And they have an ad break, and I know like huge companies pay a lot of money to be in that ad break. So, I
oh,
I'm so happy for their success because I knew every single one of them before it even started because they're all voice actors and we all knew each other from being voice actors and being at conventions together and being on projects together and them recording at my studio because my recording studio records a lot of VO work. So,
Brian Smith has got a great question. You can play D&D with any four musicians throughout time. Who's coming to your table?
oh my gosh. Where can I see these questions, by the way? Because I'm looking on YouTube, but I can't find where we're live.
Oh, it's so the watch page. I sent you in an email. Let's see if I can't get you. I'll get you the watch page.
Because I'm looking at videos. I'm looking at home.
Yeah, so let's see.
Is it not on the YouTube?
It's so
page?
we have a second channel. Maybe you're on our primary channel.
Yeah.
We have a live channel where we put all of our stick all of our live stuff because
Oh, okay.
Because YouTube gets weird. It ends up being like different audiences.
The algorithms.
Yeah. So we try and like
Okay, cool. I see
make
it.
happy.
I see it now. Which is going to be weird. I'll just move it so that I don't see the screen.
Yeah.
Because then I'll be like looking. Okay. So four
musicians throughout time.
Musicians. Like Mozart comes to mind. Boy, that's crazy. I think Ozzy's got to be in there.
Yeah.
So let's see. So Mozart, Ozzy Osbourne, Janis Joplin, because I feel like her character would be totally crazy, and I would love to like. I think she would just be a ton of fun, because she'd probably be drunk at the table and just make a lot of crazy moves. And who would, I don't know, Slash. There you go. Oh. There you go. Mozart, Ozzy Osbourne, Janis Joplin, and Slash.
You can see we were heavily influenced by I
don't know if I'm musically influenced by any of them, but we're just talking about playing D&D.
Those are the ones, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Oh man,
I'm definitely musically influenced by Ozzy just because he's great.
When I had this job years ago, and my boss had gone to, I think it was like the Ozzy Black Sabbath reunion tour.
I was on one of those because God had played Ozfest. One of the years that it was Black Sabbath.
They were playing at the Tower in Philly,
okay,
which is like a small venue. But Ozzy was sick and couldn't perform. And Rob Halford just happened to be there, and he took the stage and did like the full set.
That is awesome.
I know. And there was and he knew every single song, but one, he had like a mess up, and that was it. That was amazing to me.
Ozzy has a teleprompter, so I think for Rob, that certainly helped a lot because it was probably like karaoke in a way. As long as he knew the melodies, he could have the words in front of him.
Yeah,
I would have So you were there?
No, my boss had gone.
Ah,
Because I'm actually a bigger Priest fan than I am a Ozzy fan. And I like Ozzy and Black Sabbath, but Priest growing up was always my thing. Uh, and I would have, I was so sad to find out that like I kind of just missed it.
yeah. I would have been interested to see. Um, I would have been interested to see when Axl Rose sang for AC/DC.
Okay,
So something
yeah,
similar happened with that, where like Brian Johnson had a real damage to his hearing and had to bow out of a tour, and so they decided to still do the tour but have Axl Rose sing. And people were into it. Like hardly anybody asked for their money back or anything. They're like,
yeah.
"Sure, yeah, I'll go see this."
Nah, it's cool because it's like a once in a lifetime thing,
Yeah,
where it's one of those cases where you get like this really awesome thing that was super unexpected. It's like why I used to love Dragon magazine, right? It would give me the things I didn't know I wanted. But yeah, being able to showing up to a show expecting Ozzy and then like having someone like Rob Halford pop in, I mean, like,
yeah, that's pretty killer.
because you could go to an Ozzy show, right? I mean, back then and see Ozzy,
Right.
but seeing that, just isn't in the cards. So Evil Monkey wants to know does the VA for Drizzt have a favorite Drizzt book?
I saw that. I would be remiss if I said I've read every Drizzt book, but I think
There's like 30 of them, so
Yeah, I
don't
think
feel bad.
Homeland is my favorite.
Yeah. Also, I don't know. I got less interested in the Drizzt books as the series went on, to be honest with you. I hung in for like 20 some novels and then I just kind of like gave up. I
It's a
got,
long time to hang on,
yeah,
I get
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Yeah.
I actually like really enjoy RA's other stuff more than the Drizzt stuff. Like his stuff that's not inside the Forgotten Realms. He's got this Demon War saga that was really good, and Spielwielder's Tale, which was kind of like written for a little bit of a younger audience, more like fairy tale ish.
Hmm.
Um,
Well, I
but
wonder. Um, I wonder. Are you given certain? Uh, are you given certain parameters and limitations that you have to stick with? And does that help or hurt? Um,
yeah,
Brian, I'm pretty sure it's Menzoberranzan. Menzoberranzan.
it's a bunch of made up weird words. It's weird. So
Yeah, I was just looking at.
yeah, no,
It's okay for me to
that could
look
be the
at.
case. Also, like I don't know if maybe you don't end up with your own like rules that you won't break just because you've had a fan base for so long.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
true too.
they might show up with pitchforks and torches if you mess up
Yeah,
their
like
favorite dark
at
elf.
George R. R. Martin's house right now, they're like, finish the book.
That book ain't never getting finished. That
I
guy got
guess
too
not.
successful. I don't believe in making our authors too successful and too well fed because they stop writing.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, Jim Butcher has been on a hiatus for a while too. He kind of did that. I don't know if you're a fan of the Dresden Files. Um,
Well, it's weird. Jim Butcher at the beginning of this pandemic was in a private D&D group with me.
oh, nice.
Isn't that crazy?
That is
Yeah, he
crazy.
um and so I've actually played D&D with him like this, like remotely, like
Yeah,
3 or 4 times.
that's how we
Um
got RA on because one of the guys that was doing a podcast had wanted us to do something with them, and we went on their show and they came on ours, and then like he's in RA, he's like friends with RA's son and is in their D&D group. So we were able to have him come on and talk, which he's also like a super nice guy. Um,
oh, cool.
uh, which is like meeting your heroes is always iffy, right?
Yeah.
because
Well,
you don't want to destroy the myth.
no, like Ozzy is awesome because we did the Ozfest. Godhead did the Ozfest, and I mean, one of my most. I've told this story before, so if your audience has heard it, I'm sorry if you've already heard this, but so I was on a couple episodes of the Osbournes because the year that Godhead did the Ozfest, after that fall is when they started filming the Osbournes, and I was friends with Jack at the time, and one night I was at their house, and Ozzy's album had a new album that was about to come out called Down to Earth, and I don't know, Jack and Kelly got into a fight or something, and all of a sudden I'm alone in the living room with Ozzy. And he knew that I was in a band that was on the Ozfest, but he didn't know that much more about me than that. And I remember him asking if I, what I did in the band. And like when I told him I was the singer, he like lit up and he was like, "Have you heard my new album?" And I was like, "Well, no, because it's not out yet." And he was like, "Well, let me play it for you."
Yeah.
So then, like, this is in 2002, so 2000, might be 2001, the end of 2001, beginning of 2002. So he's like rummaging around trying to find the burned CD of the album that's going to come out later, and he finds it, he puts it in, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, he's going to play me like a song or two off the album, or he's going to play me like little snippets and jump around. No, he played me the whole album from beginning to end, and he sang along to every song. And me and Ozzy sitting on his couch, everybody else is gone, and Ozzy's singing along to his new album, and I'm just sitting here going, okay, like no matter what happens to me for the rest of my life, like I can die satisfied that I've had a good life.
Yeah.
And there's a scene from that first episode where he's like giving out random advice in the kitchen. Like, if you're going to drink, don't drive. And if you're going to have sex, use a condom. I'm in that scene. So I'm just like leaning against the sink going like, whoa, like, because reality shows weren't really a thing yet, especially not for celebrities or anything. That was like the first one. And CNN like recently kept replaying that clip because it's just such a famous clip, but I just happened to be in it. I'm the other person that no one recognizes in the clip. So that's the only proof I have that I was there. But that really happened.
That's pretty solid proof, though. I mean, video evidence. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, soon it won't matter because of the deep fakes, and then we can just call it fake. But yeah, for now, that's pretty solid.
Yeah. So kind of, it was super surreal.
A couple years, we're gonna all have videos of us hanging out with Ozzy.
But the weird thing then is that talking about Don't Meet Your Heroes, my very first album, I was getting ready to record, and it's our first record deal and everything. And I remember my producer going like, if you could get anybody to play on this album, who would you like to play on it? And I was like, Ace Frehley from Kiss, because, I grew up a Kiss fan and I'd love to have him play on this. And so they arranged for me to meet him. This is back when I lived in Virginia. He was playing at a club in Maryland. This is before the Kiss reunion. And he, I met him under the pretense, he knew he was going to play on the record or whatever. And I was like, "Oh, you're the reason I play guitar." And he goes, "Never heard that one before." And I was like, "Oh man, no, that is no." Oh,
yeah. At least he was nice and humble.
I felt like an idiot. Yeah, I felt like an idiot, and then I just didn't like him anymore.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
so yeah, don't meet your heroes if you don't expect something like that to happen.
yeah. Although, I mean, I guess with Kiss, like, it, having watched a few interviews, it doesn't seem that surprising.
Yeah, I know.
You- but what are you gonna do? You live and you learn. I've been pretty lucky. The few people I've met so far have been great, and also too, like, I just feel like we get better people in the D&D community. I might be
We do.
biased.
We totally do. Because, I mean, like nerds, we understand other nerds, right? And like we understand what it's like to be socially awkward. We understand what it's like to like read the Dungeon Master's Guide from beginning to end, to write your own adventures and modules, to do all that stuff. Like we get it, you know? So uh, there's something more understanding and inclusive, I think, in D&D fandom that is unique, and I think that like toxicity gets swatted down, you know,
Yeah,
pretty quickly. Like if somebody's a dick, people will be like, "Hey, stop being a dick," you know, and either they will stop or they won't, and then they'll,
be by
find that,
themselves for the most part.
yeah.
When you first started getting into music as a professional musician, did you ever think your career would end up where it is now?
Uh,
Like, where did you see yourself, now, as opposed to where you are?
no, but you know what? Look, like you don't think beyond. Uh, I didn't know if I didn't know where I would be, but like I know that like I'm still working constantly in the entertainment business, so like that's more than good enough for me. You know, like I'm not headlighting stadiums or anything, but uh man, I'm having a, a really fun and fulfilling life. So I'm going to work as hard as I possibly can for as long as I possibly can until they come and get me.
Yeah,
I don't know if
yeah.
you can hear that. There's sirens going.
Well, the
Uh,
late '80s, early '90s was a little rough for me. So you're actually in the music scene. Did you even think you'd still be around?
right, exactly. No, no. So I didn't think about where I was going to be at age 49.
Yeah.
So the fact that like I'm still doing all this great stuff, and like I had like a probably my best year ever as a voice actor this year. This past year, and so many great things that are coming out that I worked on this past year. That I'm just grateful and thankful, and I'm not taking it for granted. And I think that's why I'm doing so much, because you know you realize how fleeting this stuff is, right? And one day
Mm.
it's just going to be gone. So I think just do as much as you can, as long as you have the opportunities to do it, you know.
Is it nice for you to be able to, like, you have your music career, you have your nerdy music career, you have the voice acting, you have studio, work. Is it nice to be able to kind of break your career up like that?
It is great. It sort of keeps me interested, it keeps things fresh, and it keeps me moving. I don't feel stagnant in any one thing.
Because, like, I imagine, like, if you were just performing and doing gigs, like, after a while, that's gotta wear on you, and become kind of hellish, right? To just be traveling all the time, and not really be able to put down roots.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. It's very grueling.
Yeah. I mean, maybe some people like that all the time, but
I
I
love it. I mean, I
uh,
do love going on tour. I really do. And even if you asked me like 5 years ago, like I would love to be the way like Willie Nelson is always on tour.
yeah.
5 years ago, I think I would have said even like, oh yeah, I just want to be on tour all the time. Now, I'm so glad that that wasn't my full life, because I have so many friends where that was all they were doing, and then now the pandemic just decimated it. Um, but I mean, I've done a lot of fundraisers for that area of the business too, because you've got, you know, guitar techs and um, the drivers and the people that work at the local venues, and we've got a lot of smaller venues that aren't going to survive this, and it's a tragedy, man. Um, so I think they said over 100,000 small businesses have closed permanently since the pandemic started.
Have
Like
you
that.
seen like any of your peers or friends like kind of address this in like kind of creative and innovative ways?
Um, yeah, I mean, as far as like trying to help others, like there's a group called For the Nomads
Hmm.
that I contributed an autographed guitar to, that are just trying to help as many people as they can in the touring industry, the non-musicians, and the people that, the tour managers and the assistant tour managers and the production managers and all that stuff, all those support jobs, because you know so I've seen that, and um, creatively wise, like as far as like putting out art, I'm I'm sure that this time has inspired people, and also, though, I know that it has also depressed people.
Yeah.
I have friends that are like, I haven't picked up a guitar in 6 months now. Guys that are like pro musicians that are just depressed. So like it's affected people in a lot of different ways. So whatever we can do to sort of alleviate that, I'm glad there's a bit that can be done.
Like I have a friend that does theater work in New York. And like they do like so now
Yeah.
like they're doing like Zoom shows and stuff.
Yeah, no, I think that that's great. And I mean, honestly, like I wouldn't have launched my Twitch channel, even though I did a lot of Twitch stuff before on Geek and
Yeah.
Sundry. Like I never launched my own Twitch channel because I was doing stuff on Geek and Sundry all the time. So I thought to myself, like, why do I need to launch my own when I'm doing this here? Once the pandemic hit, that's when I really leaned into doing my own. I wouldn't have done that. And now I'm doing, 2 concerts a week. So it keeps my chops up. It keeps me fresh. It keeps me, I'm playing guitar almost every day, which unless when I was on tour, I probably still play guitar a little bit every day in the before times, the before times. Um,
Yeah.
but doing
I,
these concerts and like, excuse me, interacting with my audience is something that keeps me sane, you know?
yeah, I mean everyone's just trying to figure out a way. I mean these live chats we were doing them before, and we had you on before when we first did them a couple of years ago, and then we like did it for a year, and then we stopped doing them, and it was like after lockdown kind of started happening. That's why we brought it back. We're like, well, I don't know. It's we don't really do it for us. We just do it so that people have something to do for an hour, a day. Um,
Yeah.
if we can like give back a little bit, but we're all just trying to figure it out, I guess.
Right.
So, I really, but I also enjoy getting to, hang out with cool people like you and talk to people in the industry. And for me, does give me a bit of that connection that I'm missing from going to conventions.
Oh, good. Yeah, I mean that's the thing. Like, I was, I have friends that before this would do like 40 conventions a year. Some voice
Yeah.
actor friends that like literally that was their weekend, was going to a convention like every weekend. I probably did like 6 to 8 a year, which is plenty,
Yeah.
plenty to do. But I really miss them, So that'll be one fun thing that happens when things
Yeah.
start to roll back in.
Conventions for me were always like, I don't know, like workations, I guess.
Yeah.
Because I'm going there to do a lot of networking for Nerdarchy and do Nerdarchy stuff, but then like you get to hang out with all of your internet friends that you don't get to see in person, which is super nice.
No, for people like you and me, it's work. It's
Yeah.
100% work all the time. And then especially if I think the reason when you asked me earlier which convention I missed the most, and I said San Diego Comic-Con,
Yeah.
because that's one where for that I'm usually on like one panel and that's it. And then the
Yeah.
rest of the time it's just freedom. But at another, if I'm booked as a guest at a convention, it's constant work because it's, at 10 a.m. we have this VIP breakfast, and then so that ends at 10:45, and then from 11 to 1 you're gonna sign. Then at 1:30 you have your first panel from 1:30 to 3:30. Then you're gonna sign again from 4 to 6. Then you have an hour off. Then at 7 o'clock we've got this other VIP dinner that ends at 8:30. Then at 9 o'clock we've got the 18 and over after dark panel where you can tell crazy stories or whatever. And then so your day is scheduled for like 12 hours. Like it's just constant running, right? And I love it, but you're exhausted by the end of that convention, man.
I think like the last convention I went to was Gamehole Con, which is also, if you get a chance, is a great convention to hit up.
Yeah, I was gonna go to it. I think I was planning on going to the 2021 until this.
But I went kind of like last minute. So I didn't really have anything kind of planned to do.
Mhm.
So I did like an ad hoc interview, and I ended up doing the role play roulette with Satine DMing. But it was like one of the conventions where I did the most like convention-y stuff that I've ever done, where I just like hung out at panels and played games and just really didn't have much going on, which was nice.
Yeah.
Get that in there when you can.
Yeah. No, I know.
And it's also like a really small, intimate show compared to like Origins or Gen Con.
Right, which is just insane.
Have you been PAX Unplugged?
No, there's a lot like a lot of the gamer ones I haven't been to. So I need to go to them for sure. And I love Dragon Con too.
Yeah, I've
That's a
not
really
been to
fun
Dragon
one.
Con. That's it's on my list.
That takes over the whole city of Atlanta. It's crazy.
Yeah, that is one of the few like pop culture like cons that I'm interested in going to. I generally stick to the RPG centric ones. Tend to, and I just enjoy those more as well. I feel like.
Well, for me, it's like I was saying, like I would usually get booked on 6 to 8 a year. So
Yeah.
then I had Comic Con, and then I had like maybe one or two others that I liked to go to, and then I'm on tour. So that's about it for me. You know what I mean? So I
You're
need
at
to.
capacity.
Yeah, I am. I'm pretty much at con
Yeah.
capacity at that point.
That definitely makes sense.
Yeah.
So
But
what you got to do is you got to get these conventions to book you to play at.
yeah, well, now that I've done Bardic Inspiration,
Yeah.
I was talking about with Luke. I'm like, at GaryCon next year, I could do like 3 sets
Yeah.
of music all about D&D characters. We have so many songs.
Oh yeah.
So I can't wait to do that at a gaming convention. To be like,
Well-
this song is about Tiamat.
Well, so in 2020 Halloween weekend, we were supposed to throw our first convention.
Oh, no.
But then the world ended. right? So we had this business that's very like revolves around another company. So we're like, we should probably have like a plan B for whatever reason. Who knows what's going to happen, right? So we're like, I know an event company that would probably be like a great move. Like we like conventions and they seem to do really well, and we had some ideas. And so we started setting that in motion at the end of 2019. And it was like we sent out our deposit on the space like 2 weeks before the lockdown. Yeah.
Were you able to get it back?
Not yet. So that was not a small number.
I'm so sorry.
We're still working on it. We'll see. We still want to do the convention. It's just, we're just figuring out when we're going to be able to do it safely and productively. It's hard enough for it to be the first one that we're going to do, and then on top of everything else. So we're working through it. We'll figure it out.
Okay.
But when we do it, like our plan was to go big. So like we're like the concept was like VidCon or TwitchCon meets, like a GaryCon or a Gamehole Con. Was kind of the angle we were going for. And we had most of the top like YouTubers. When we started planning, it involved a bunch of streamers, a bunch of podcasters. So
it'll be back. You'll be able to do it again.
Yeah, that's all. It's just been delayed. That's it. We're just gonna do it bigger and better later.
Will it be in New Jersey?
And we were looking at it was going to be in Oaks, PA, which is like 18 miles north of Philadelphia.
Hey, I'm just glad that you didn't have to put down a deposit on the Javits Center. Could you imagine? Yeah.
I can't. I know I know the deposit we did put down, so I can't even imagine.
I know, my God.
So yeah, it's been tough, but we'll come back. Everyone will come back. I'm convinced. So we are just past the hour mark. Final thoughts?
Yeah, thanks for having me back again. And, for everybody watching, thanks for watching. And I'll see you out there in the streamoverse.
Yeah. And as always, links are in the description. Go check out Jason Charles Miller.
Oh, good.
Everywhere and get those new albums when they drop.
Yeah, and come help me battle the haters on TikTok.
TikTok, yeah.
Yeah, I know most people are great, but it's just some are really mean. Yeah, and then I just delete. It's nice deleting those, but it's just weird. I haven't had that much hate in a long time.
Yeah. Well, until next time, everyone, stay nerdy.